Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures. Today I'm back with another model from Antimatter Games. This is something my child was nagging me to get around to. It is the giant Eurypterid. Did I say that correctly? I did, Eurypterid. So these are the ancient sea scorpions, and he's a big looking sucker. One of the cool things is these can be used as kind of encounters that are just going to hinder both you and your opponent in deep wars. I don't think this guy is... Oh, no, he is amphibious, so which means you can actually use him in Shadow Sea as well, or whatever your underwater skirmish game of choice is. Let's take a look at the parts here. Might be good for a Darklands Kindred if you're going to go for Morian. So we have a 50mm base here. We have a stand for our Eurypterid friend to attach to. I'm assuming as such. And we are going to get the joy. Oh, God, and they're all popped off naturally. I'm assuming those are L's. L4, L5. Yeah, that's going to be fun to figure out now. I can't wait. All of the legs are unattached. That's just dandy. That's okay. Let's take a look at the actual body here. I don't know if this is a 3D sculpt or not, 3D print or render or whatever fancy terminology you want to use. He's going to be a dangerous encounter for whoever gets too close to this guy. You can see his claws here are literally the size of a Primaris Marine, if not bigger. So, big claws, lots of legs, and I don't know what I'm going to get myself into. So, wish me luck, because I'm going to try to attach all of these, and oh boy, we'll see how that goes. Alright, we got our giant Eurypterid all finished up here, and believe it or not, it was nowhere near as difficult as I thought it was going to be. So, of note is the fact that on the outsides, on the tops of his legs, he's got these really crusty, barnacle-like, I don't know, deposits, for lack of a better word. I'm not a marine biologist, so hopefully somebody can chime in and explain what that crusty stuff is on our crustacean-like friend here. But once I figured that out, putting the legs in the correct order was not that difficult of task, because I did see that the little pedipalp mandible type thing was labeled as part number 1, and then the claws were actually 2, so we just went from there. The straightest leg was 3, the more bent 4, really turning 5, and then finally the little flipper thingies were the 6th one. So not too bad. I went ahead and glued it on the base. I didn't think going underneath there is going to be all that difficult to paint. Now, what the color is on the bottom of our giant sea scorpion friend, I have absolutely no idea. I'm thinking a lightish orangey ochre. I don't even know. I'm going to do like a nice reddish brown, I think, for the top, just because it looks very lobster-like. And I got into a big argument with my child over how many iPod things it actually is supposed to have, and he whipped out a bunch of books, and we had a very long-winded argument about early life and how their eyes evolved. And I was quite surprised that he knew all that, so kudos to him. I would quote it and show you, but it's all in Japanese, so unless you can read it, and I really can't because it's way beyond my first grade reading level, so I'm not even going to bother. Taking a look at how our model here stacks up to some other stuff, he is quite big. I mean, looking at him on camera, yeah, I mean, I know I have it zoomed up, but it's a good size model. Now, I don't know if they actually grew this large. There's probably some kind of, you know, fossilized evidence that, I mean, I'm sure there were pretty big ones. I think my son said there were some that were supposed to have been up to 3 meters, so who's to say that it couldn't get this big? Let's see what else we got. Actual Deep Wars model. And the cool thing is, since he is amphibious, he's more than welcome to go crawling and scuttling around on the land and, you know, be sure to devour people here. Here's one of my old, oh gosh, what was this? I mean, obviously it's supposed to be like a mosasaur. I think this is probably when the antimatter stuff was still with Cavalcade or Dragon Blood or something like that. Cavalcade, I know for sure. Anyway, he's another older Shadow Sea model, but just to give you a good size indication there. Outside of Deep Wars, I'm sure if you play any kind of tabletop RPG that has you traversing the ocean floors, it seems like Pathfinder really likes to do that a lot. I know there's plenty of other deep sea RPG adventures out there. I think this guy would be a perfect encounter for that. I think if you're going to do like, what were they called? I know there's the army in Kings of War that has the big scuttly crab things with the Nereids. I can't think of the name. Trident Realms, that's it. Might be a good centerpiece type model there, or especially if you want to put one of these guys in the middle with a bunch of little scuttly stuff. That might be a good idea too if you're going to make a big block of infantry, or monstrous infantry, I guess, in that case. So it is a fun model. And again, that's one of the things that I really dig about antimatter stuff is while there are the more trope related fantasy stuff, especially with Shadow Sea, you don't see a lot of the underwater stuff, and especially digging into a lot of the, I don't want to say historical, but part of natural history's evolution, getting into some of the more fantasy aspects of actual life that once existed on our planet is always fun, and I always enjoy whenever I have these models around. One of my kids always like, oh, I know what that is, it's blah blah blah, and I just scratch my head and say, you're probably right. So yeah, do take a look at their website because they have all kinds of interesting other stuff like these models as well. This is a cast resin model, but I do want to say that they have STL files available as well. Don't quote me on that, but I'm about 90% sure that I've seen them there, or it was probably one of the most recent Kickstarters they had. I'll put a link down below to their Kickstarters as well if you're curious. And by all means, do take a look because there's some fun things there. With that said, this is High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching. We'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.